Hello guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this pants pattern. Very easy and straightforward. You don't need to stress yourself. So if you want to learn how to do this, please keep on watching. And also, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and give me a like. So let's begin with this video.
Here are all the measurements needed for this pattern.
So let's begin. I'll first be making a border of 2 inches. I'll also make a border also of 2 inches here. Okay, this border we just made now, we are going to divide these 2 inches by 2, and that means we are dividing the border into 1 inch. You're now going to be putting your crotch length. If you're not sure of your crotch length, what you need to do is divide your hips by 4 and mark it as your crotch length. We're going to take our waist measurement divided by 4. Then if you wanted that, you're going to be adding 2 inches, but if you're drafting this pattern without the that, it's going to be, you're going to be adding 1 inch. It's 1 inch for that and 1 inch for sewing allowance. This line is where we're going to be placing our laps, the lap circumference. So you're going to take your lap circumference plus 2 inches, then you will divide whatever you get by 2. And when placing this measurement of your lap, you're going to begin from this point, not this, you're going to begin from this point. Now we'll be taking our pattern master and connecting this waistline to the beginning of where we place our lap measurement. To form our dart, we want to take our nipple to nipple measurement and divide it by 2. We'll be placing it here. Place our nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Bring out our dart leg of 4 inches. Our dart leg of 4 inches. Then make a dart intake of 1 inch, half inch at both sides, half inch. So you bring your protractor or your pattern master. You place the protractor on this line, making this a 90-degree angle. When you place that, you mark 45 degrees. This is your 45-degree angle. Then you will just make an angle connecting to this point. When you've done that, you measure from this point to this point, and whatever you get, you divide it by 4. And when you've gotten your measurement, when you divide it by 4, you come and you place whatever you get on this line. So now you measure this line you have here, measure this line, you will divide it by 2 and mark you mark the middle point. So this is our midpoint. So now we're just going to be connecting these lines together, trying to make a deep curve, because you need to make it deep. Once you make it this way, you're going to have that extra sack of fabric in front of your crotch, which is not pleasing to the eye. So you try to make it as deep as possible. So our front crotch is ready, and this is how our front crotch is looking. So now we've done that, we are going to continue with the placement of our vertical measurements. So now remember, this is your crotch line and this is your waist. We are going to be placing our knee measurements, our ankle measurements, and our floor measurements. Here to here, and divide it by 2 to get the midpoint. So whatever you have, you divide it by 2. You also transfer it to the knee and ankle measurements as well. And then you rule a line to connect them together. Now we'll go ahead to place our knee and ankle measurement. So you measure around your knee and you will divide it by 4. Whatever you get, you're going to come and place it on your knee line. You're going to place here, and you're also going to place here. You measure your ankle, and whatever you get, you're going to divide it by 4 and place. You place here and also place here. To connect it to the hip point, to the crotch point, what you're going to do is you're going to take your pattern master and carefully align it. You're going to curve in, and when you get to this point, reposition your pattern master also. You reposition your pattern master and then connect it to this line. You also take your pattern master to connect the crotch to the knee line. You take your pattern master, you position it so as to form a smooth curve, and then you connect. So our front pattern is completed. Now to make the back pattern, you're going to use the front pattern to make the back pattern. To make the back pattern, what you need to do is extend this line. You extend the line and then you place 3 inches on this line. Please remember that this pattern, seam allowances are also in it. You place 3 inches on this pattern, and that same 3 inches you also place it on your knee. You place this 3 inches on your knee and also on your floor line, your floor length. Then you connect. So now to form the back crotch, what you're going to do is, on this angle you made there, you're going to come up by 1.5 inches. You're going to come up, extend it out by 1.5 inches. Then on your waistline, you're going to come up by 1 inch. When you come up by 1 inch here, you will connect it to the waist. You connect it at an angle or with the diagonal line to the waist. And then using your French curve, you're going to connect this point to this point and then finally to this point. So you can see the difference between the front. This is the front pattern and then this is the back pattern. Please, all seam allowances are included in this pattern. You can use this pattern to make any form of pants you want, even including shorts. If you want to cut, this is how you cut for the front, and then for the back you cut on where the red line is. So after cutting out this pattern, when you want to sew, please do not put these allowances just as I did. I just put it there because I'm going to be using this pattern for other projects as well, so I'm going to be tracing it out. So when you want to sew this trouser, your seam allowances are already included. This extra 3 inches, they are part of your seam allowances. When you want to sew, you use 1 inch seam allowance to sew for the side, and then 0.75 or also 1 inch seam allowance. Please add seam allowances to both the front and the back crotch line. Please add seam allowances to both the front and back crotch line. You can add 0.5 seam allowances or 0.25, and I will see you next time. If you have any suggestions or ideas you want me to show you the illustrations, I'm going to put in my phone number for you to send me the recreations you want me to recreate. So I'll see you next time.